Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, conversations and cocktails with brilliant women. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe the best stories are the ones shared over a glass of wine or a cocktail. Each week, I sit down with women who've said yes to building something meaningful, often after years of putting everyone else first. We talk business, big dreams, and the mess in between. And of course, a few favorite drinks. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. This week's guest is April Wachtel, founder of Cheeky Cocktails, and this convo is part cocktail nerd out, part entrepreneurial fire starter. We talk about perfectionism, imposter syndrome, burnout, pivots, trolls, and yes, cocktails. If you were at wine camp this year, you know how much everyone loved the bee sting cocktail we made by the pool. That one was actually from a past Sipper Club recipe. And spoiler alert, I'll be remixing it soon using one of April's cheeky mixers. Because why not make life and happy hour a little easier? April is sharing her story, from bartending and brand building to launching her own mixer line in the middle of a pandemic. And she's offering you a discount on her cheeky cocktails. I'll include the link in the show notes, but if you miss it, just DM me and I'll send it right your way. Let's get into it. Here is April Wachtel.
Hello.
Good morning, April.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Are you at a standing desk?
Well, truth be told, I am standing at an ironing board.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's making do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having this chat.
I'm so excited to talk with you. I think we have a lot in common.
I do too, actually. I've been listening to some of your podcasts, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to discuss.
Well, thank you for listening. Yeah, we're going to have a fun chat for sure.
Yeah.
Well, April, to begin with, tell my audience what you do and like your name, who you are, anything you want us to know up front about your company and all of that, and then we'll get into the juicy details.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm April Wachtel. I'm the founder and CEO of Cheeky Cocktails. I'm a former brand ambassador for Bacardi, consultant for Diageo, and cocktail instructor with over 12,000 former students. But I started off in bars and restaurants. I spent many years trying to kind of figure out what I wanted to do and working in bars and restaurants, learning about what creative pursuits I wanted to engage in. So it's been an interesting long journey. And then I launched my company Cheeky Cocktails in 2020 into the first wave of COVID. And, we do professional grade cocktail mixers. So they're shelf stable versions of what the pros use behind bars. And it was very interesting timing. Honestly, couldn't have been better in terms of the inbound and all that. So that's what we do. We do cocktail mixers, to help people connect with friends and family better.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. And first of all, COVID, nobody stopped drinking.
They did not. They drank more. They drank a lot more.
Well, yeah, I'm speaking from personal experience there. But
oh, yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's very great timing. And what a fantastic idea, too, to have these mixes available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the mixes you say are a higher quality, right? They're like less junk in them, right?
It's a few things. So like when you order a margarita from, a bar, a craft cocktail bar, they don't make it with tequila and margarita mix. They make it with tequila and lime juice and, typically like a triple sec or orange liqueur. If it's a Tommy's margarita, instead of the orange liqueur, they'll use agave syrup. And so our products are both higher quality. They are made to the exact specs, like specifications that the products are made in a craft cocktail bar. But then additionally, we don't do the fully mixed mixers. We keep the juices and syrups separate. So anybody who uses them they basically have access to the same tools as a professional would.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so tell us, how did you move from the bars? What gave you the idea to bring this product to fruition?
Yeah. Well, so I was always like a creative entrepreneurial kid. Like I had ideas for businesses and products and like stupid marketing ideas for videos and things like that when I was like a child with a giant camcorder. So I know I was just looking for an idea for years and years and years. And I think before I knew the concept of ikigai, of like finding something that you love and adds value to the world and you can make money and utilizes your skill set, before I even knew that that was a concept, I knew that I needed to find something that like I was uniquely well qualified to do and I loved doing. So
Mm.
over the years, I actually tried to leave bars and restaurants for many years because of the lifestyle. It's just really hard on your
Mm.
body. I
Late nights.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are really challenging for probably everybody's body, but particularly mine, given I was like an athlete as well, and I had all these knee injuries. So I was like, I gotta find like a thing to do after this that will allow me to utilize my skills and that I love doing. And again, that there's an opportunity for. So it was kind of with that mindset that, I'm going through all of these different roles, as I mentioned, as a cocktail instructor, working in corporate spirits, as a bartender, and really, truly as a consumer as well. It's like, what do I need in my life when I'm entertaining? And as a result of all of those experiences, I was like, there's clearly something here because we know consumers who have great cocktails in bars, they no longer want to go home and have like the mixers filled with high fructose corn syrup and like red dye number 3 and yellow dye number 24, whatever. So I knew that there was something there, but it took years to crystallize what that might be. And before launching Cheeky in 2020, I actually ran another mixer company, which was like versions 1 through 6 of the idea. And so I ran that for
Oh,
like 4.5, almost 5 years, and then was just like, this is not it. Like the product that we have is not meeting the need for the people that I was hoping it would. And so I pulled the whole thing apart and then put it back together as Cheeky. So it was like a
wow.
20-year journey of being like,
Yeah.
what hell?
Well, yeah. And this is a key point. I feel like you were not sitting back and thinking about it for all that time. You were testing
Totally.
and trying things and finding what didn't work in order to get to what did.
Totally. Totally. And I think I actually think it's a shame for this narrative to be out in the ether saying, like there's a one aha moment. Like or like
Mm,
like that's how you get your entrepreneur or your creative idea.
yeah.
Because I think most of the time, and again, it's not saying that those don't exist, but I think most of the time, especially if you're like immersed in the industry, it is
Hmm.
like the evolution of something that crystallizes over a long period of time. And typically you don't have it right away. Typically you start with like a bad version of the thing or a mediocre version of the thing, and then it evolves and you tweak it based on market feedback. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a long journey for me, and I would imagine it's going to take a lot longer to get kind of where I want to go to. So
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody, I mean, any entrepreneur out there, you build the train while it's going down the track. I mean, I've heard that so many times. It's
totally,
so true. You
totally.
have to get that feedback. It's like you're not going to be perfect right out of the gate. So get over that perfectionism, get over those limiting beliefs that hold you still and
Yeah.
keep you small.
Totally. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think one of the biggest unlocks is recognizing and being able to separate my ego from the
Mm,
business success. Because I think what hangs so many people up, whether it's an artistic project, whether it's an entrepreneurial venture, is like you're like the reception of my idea, the first version of my idea is this is people's judgment on my value. And
mm,
if I don't kill it immediately, that means I'm worthless or like I feel shame or whatever that might be. And
mhm,
being able to separate your ego and say this is like a live experiment. It's like live in the
mhm.
market, and like I can place my value in like my continued passion for the project, my ability to pivot, and like truly like hear critical feedback and then process it into like so it benefits the product and the consumer. That I think is like huge, and that is I think one of the unlocks to growth or the things that will continue to unlock your growth is recognizing this is not about you and your value. It's about the whole package and the idea, and your ability to change for the market.
So true. So true. It's we keep ourselves we don't talk about what we're working on because if nobody knows about it, they can't judge you about it.
Totally. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. And again, I know your conversations, they can be very businessy, they can be very
Hmm.
thoughtful and no introspective. But I think, yeah, I mean, I feel like the journey of entrepreneurship is the journey of becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think
For
that
sure.
translates to any pursuit where you're bringing an idea into the world, and then you have to you're responsible for its well-being, over the course of its existence.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like your business doesn't grow any faster than you as a person can grow. Like,
Yes,
as much expansion as you're willing to accept,
totally,
then your business
totally.
can grow too. Well, it's almost like having a kid, right? I haven't had one by birth,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
feels very much like, okay, you're raising this thing that is your dream, but it has its own thing.
totally, totally. No, and I've said that because I also do not have children. And I love children. I just don't have any.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but no, I've thought about that as well, as it's like many of the responsibilities that you have, again, for its well-being, um, and to correct it when it's doing the wrong thing,
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
parallels. And it's
Yeah.
rewarding in a very similar way where you're just like, okay, this took us like years to get from, whatever, crawling to walking, but like we're here for it and like we
Yeah.
celebrate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then go have a drink when the day isn't so great.
Yeah, totally, totally. Or during the day, you never know.
Hello, friend. Let's be real. When's the last time you did something just for you? Enter Wine Camp 2026. We're talking wine tastings, fire pit chats, sunset dinner cruises, and zero cooking required. Just show up, sip something fabulous, and reconnect with the version of you who loves adventure, sisterhood, and a glass of local Riesling in hand. Sweet, dry, or both. No judgment here. We're heading to New York's gorgeous Finger Lakes, July 31st through August 2nd. And yes, it's as dreamy as it sounds. Secure your spot at pennyforyourshots.com/winecamp. Don't wait, room options are limited, and my crystal ball says we're going to sell out. Bring your besties or fly solo like the fabulous free spirit you are. You'll leave with new favorites either way. Wine Camp 2026 is calling. The only question is, are you in? Find out more at pennyforyourshots.com/winecamp. Yeah, this may or may not be coffee. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Oh, okay. So getting back to your product idea. So when COVID hit, is that when you were like, okay, I'm changing this, or I'm going to go with this, or how did you pivot there?
No, so it was so this also was again about like learning myself on the journey as well. So like
Mhm.
I think one of my greatest strengths and also correspondingly probably largest weaknesses, I'm very tenacious. And so I don't know I don't think any experienced entrepreneur would have run the first version of my business for 4.5 years, knowing all the problems it had. Like, I think
Mm.
had I known better, I would have been like, we just did this for 6 months and this is not working. Like, we need to pivot. So I knew that I had a laundry list of things about the first business
Uh-huh.
to change. Just even if you looked at like the bottle breakage that was directly related to the sort of unique product offering we had, our breakage was like off the charts. And what we had
Mm.
always said from day one is like, when we have enough money, when we raise enough money,
Oh,
we're
geez.
profitable
Uh-huh.
enough, we'll fix this thing, but like we're just going to gut it out until then. So it was really, again, that entire time that we were running that business, my business partner at the time, Gates, and I, we were just, learning on the job, and we were both bartenders very recently. I mean, he was still bartending and I had already moved to corporate spirits, but we we knew for years that there were major problems. And so what happened is there was like one catastrophic production run where the breakage was like 30%. It was just like
Oh
exponentially
my
higher
God.
than it was really terrible. And
Mm-hmm.
it was in that moment that I was like, okay, this is not about tenacity and like persevering through hard things. This is about this thing is not working. And so I started that unwinding process of the former business, which was called Swig and Swallow. I started that probably uh n- really like 2019, like maybe whatever, spring of 2019.
Hmm.
Gates and I decided to part ways. He's still a great friend of mine. He went on to do like he's now a global mixologist for the Marriott, so he does all of the
Oh,
luxury
wow.
properties. So he kills it. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But so we split up, and I had always had the knowledge as well that Spig and Swallow was a terrible name and cheeky. I needed to find a better name. So I had at that point, like in mid 2019, I had the name Cheeky. I had the trademark on the name Cheeky. We still had the
Nice.
facility that we were using for the previous business. And I just started looking for like design agencies. Long story short is we had already been in that transition. And my plan was like to soft launch in April of 2020, like
Oh,
quote
gosh.
unquote the right way. Yeah. And yes, and then COVID hits. And I think the benefit of like many crises is it forces you to like get over yourself and just do things
Hmm.
that just
Had no
get
choice. You had
totally.
to. Hmm.
So yeah, so the agency not ready with the design. So I just designed bottles basically. I was like, this I think
Let's
is
go.
yeah, like we need something to go with. Design the labels. I personally was like hand sanitizing, cutting, and juicing every single piece of citrus, and then
Oh, my.
bottling. Oh yeah. Then I built the website and I did all the photography. So I probably did everything from like the design to building the website to having products for sale. It was probably like 4 days. It was like very fast. Um, and that's again, that's the beauty of a crisis. And so yeah, so it was already in the works. And then
Dang.
as soon as we launched, we just started getting crushed with orders. Just
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
how did you get funding then for all the things that you had to fix from the previous, like the breakage and such?
That's a great question. So I had been funding it. So at the time I was consulting for Diageo at like, so I probably was doing 100-hour weeks between the consulting work and
Dang.
Big and Swallow stuff. Yeah, it was a
Okay. So you had another income stream that was like you weren't solely getting paid from your cheeky
oh
company.
yeah. I had not been paid by my business for the entire time. It was for like four
Oh
and a half years. So
gosh.
I was always working this as like as a side gig.
Okay.
But in yeah, so we started getting crushed in 2020. We launched again in March. I think it was maybe June or July that I reached out to my consultant clients, who kind of were the intermediary between myself and Diageo and said, "Hey, I can't do this anymore." And maybe it was later in the year, I forget, but it was like a number of months had elapsed. And simultaneously, I was able to get an EIDL loan from the SBA. That was,
Nice.
yeah, it was because of COVID. Um, and then so we actually didn't have to raise money. We just used that money and then, all the revenue from the business. Um, we probably didn't have to start raising money until 2021. And that's been its own interesting sort of slow moving journey.
Hmm.
But that's yet another reason that I think we were so fortunate given the timing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as an entrepreneur, you're wearing all those hats. You have to have the right product. It has to taste good, has to the quality control,
Mhm.
the production,
Mhm.
the shipping, the facilities, health concern, all of the boxes to check. And you're
Yeah.
wearing all those hats, right? And plus getting financing and keeping track of
Yeah.
the administrative part of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is yet another, like, I'm so interested in learning about, how people go through these journeys. And we have like a decent footprint, so our revenue is not terrible. Like we're in about 1,300 accounts. We're launching into 300 to 400 new stores,
Nice.
casinos and things like that in the next couple months. So this is going to be a big growth year for us. But what I have learned sort of recently is there's you know, in terms of the revenue, like annual revenue, up
Mm-hmm.
until your, $4 or $5 million in annual revenue, you like the way these businesses work is there's just not enough money to get the help that you need. So we've had to be really crafty about how we bring help in because technically, while I have like a sort of big-ish team, I'm the only full-time employee on the business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting, like when you see businesses like at my stage, which again, I think from the outside, we probably look like we're crushing it. It's like, well, yeah, I still do the majority of our ops. I still am fundraising, which in itself is a full-time job. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still building out all the marketing and like doing all the hiring and managing all the teams and stuff like that. So it's just it's quite interesting and yeah,
Yeah.
more growth.
Marketing is a whole another beast.
It is. It is. And it's actually my favorite of the beasts.
Really?
Oh yeah. And it's also the one that we've been able to do the least of because like to your point about checking boxes and just having a lot of responsibility, we run a manufacturing facility. We manufacture and we fulfill everything in-house currently. And
Mm-hmm.
if you look at any one of those elements, um, there's the food safety, to your point, there's the quality control, there's the managing of the staff, there's like the what if the staff calls out sick? Then I've got to find replacements. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just on the manufacturing side. Like there's so many things there. So yeah, so I'm really excited because actually as of yesterday, we one of our existing investors who's like a very experienced growth marketer, both with digital products as well as physical CPG
Oh, cool.
products, she's
Mm-hmm.
coming on in a fractional capacity starting Monday. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is gonna be like a huge unlock for us. So
Yeah. That's so cool. So how are you currently doing the marketing? I see you on social media.
yeah.
Yeah. And a podcast. You have a podcast, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Pub movers and shakers. Yeah, so the way that we have been doing this so far is it's been really piecemeal. It's literally been like when April has, an extra couple hours, she does things
What
for
is
marketing.
that?
Yeah. But no, so I mean, here's the thing, and I think this is again probably interesting to some of your like aspiring entrepreneur folks or just people who are curious about how you build an idea, is
Mm-hmm.
like so we have PR. So when you look at like an early stage startup, which I would consider us to be, PR is one of the opportunities that if it's kind of all or nothing, where it's like maybe five PR hits don't generate business, or maybe they generate like $100,000 in business, depending on the
Mm,
placement. So that's something that, from an organic perspective, like I think just having a unique product that was timely, we got a lot of like great media. So like two features in the New York Times, like named one of the best
nice.
beverage gifts for foodies in New York Times, sorry, in New York Magazine and Bon Appetit. But we have an amazing PR person who has been um, pitching us and all that stuff in this process. So that's thing one. And that's been great because she is a super pro. So I don't need to manage her. Then on the other marketing stuff, we dabble with organic. There's a lot of folks who share our product out. So we just amplify that a little bit. We do some sort of retention work, which is just, sending out emails to our subscribers, things like that. And then we've done a lot of partnerships as well. Like we had a really notable one with Kendall and Chris Jenner for 818, and that
Oh,
has
wow.
continued. Yeah, that has continued, as you can imagine, to drive a lot of traffic and interest.
Yeah.
So that's what we've done to date. But the major thing that I will be working on with Vanessa, who's the growth marketer I mentioned, is we are building out the whole digital side of the business as well. So, virtual cocktail classes, um,
Nice.
like all the downloads and instructional and how to batch and bringing in a lot of other bar professionals as well to share their tips and tricks. So we'll be building that out and then knitting that together and bundling it with a physical product. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've done a lot, but not spent a lot to date. And then this
That's
is going to
great.
be like a really intentional,
Yeah.
the initiative. This is our go-to-market.
Been scrappy.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes, as you have to be,
You have to be,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fresh ideas and just take it and run with it, test
Yeah.
it, see if it
Yeah.
works. Don't just keep
Totally.
it in your mind like, oh, that maybe, I don't know, but probably not.
Yeah.
We talk ourselves out of all those things.
Totally. And I think the other thing that like I just didn't know when I got into this is like something that does not work now does not mean it won't work because it's about
Yeah.
where attention is, it's about the cultural conversation, like how do people find things? Like what is your personal behavior? Like like if you're evaluating a product, like
Mhm.
how do you learn about it? and what convinces you to purchase? Like, so it's about like human behavior, which I think is super interesting. And so testing and learning.
Most of the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it can be off-putting as well, but that's a different type of testing,
Yeah, yeah, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's super interesting, and you have to try like thousands and thousands of things to see what ultimately will work.
Yeah. And what feels good?
Yeah.
Not only what's working, but do I want to keep doing it?
Sure, sure. I mean, that being said, though, there are some things where I'm like, this is dumb. I don't like this, but it works. And so it's like
Yeah.
that's another thing is just being like, it's not about necessarily like what I think is right. I mean, from a moral perspective, we're not gonna like advertise on a channel that fundamentally we disagree with their values.
Yeah. Right.
But I do think that people oftentimes say, like, I'm not on TikTok. Like, I don't understand it. So, like, why would anyone? And they just discount the entire channel.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is something to be avoided because, again, it's like if you have a guest in your home, it's not that you're trying to feed them the food that you like, it's feed them
Right.
that you think they will like.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think it's,
that's interesting. A lot of people, a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with in my coaching are like, oh God, I hate social media. Like, well,
because they
is
don't
that,
understand it and they feel overwhelmed,
well,
probably.
yeah, absolutely. And I think they're afraid to be seen.
Hmm.
There's a lot of that whole imposter syndrome and all those lies that we believe that,
Hmm.
we're not worthy or we can't put it out there until we're perfect, or I got to practice this reel 10 times before I do it
Yeah.
or going live. And no,
Yeah.
that's not what it's about.
Totally. And it's interesting too, because like, I know that the farther you get from your core, like friends and family who,
Mm-hmm.
follow you and support you, the more of that, like anonymous, um, let's say criticism,
They're trolls.
from,
Come on.
oh yeah, the trolls come out. And I think all of us, especially with something that's so personal as your business or your
Yeah.
idea, you're like, oh, do I want to open myself up to
Mm-hmm.
it? But it's unavoidable. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously you can't please everybody. And if somebody is spending their time saying nasty things on, a random account, that's not about you. That's about them and their shitty life. Excuse my language.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. Spot on.
So,
I
yeah.
had my first troll
Oh
about a
no.
month ago, and I'm like, rock on. It's like
Yeah.
something's happening, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like that relates to sales as well, which is like if you flip it from, I'm scared of rejection, I don't want rejection, and you flip it
Mm-hmm.
to, it's going to require 10, 20, 100 rejections in order to get the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're like, well, now I want to get those rejections. So it's the same thing, which is just like, oh, I need a bunch of trolls to like actually mean that I've actually become like a cultural, of cultural relevance,
Something's happening.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So it's just
A
helpful
rite
to
of
do mind,
passage.
yeah, mind pivots. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and what it his unintended consequence was that it boosted my stuff was starting to be seen by others.
Oh,
Then, yeah, because he
interesting.
commented, yeah,
Totally.
yeah. I'm like, thank
Well,
you, buddy.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like recently I know there have been a handful of like very controversial, marketing. I mean, this is the nature of marketing, right? But like
Hmm.
I think the most recent very controversial marketing campaign that I've seen,
Hmm.
it was like the Dr. Swatch um Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap thing. So
Oh, I haven't seen that.
the fact that it's even coming up in this conversation means they have done their job, which is
Right.
they made
He
this custom.
noticed.
Yes, they made this custom bar that's like allegedly with Sydney Sweeney's bathwater because she's beautiful and like whatever object
Uh-huh.
desire, and and the majority of the comments are like, "This is disgusting. Why would you do that?" And just the fact that it generated this dialogue is the purpose of the thing. It's funny. It is cheeky. that is the sort of thing that Cheeky should do if it were topically relevant. But like it started conversation, even though
Mm,
a huge amount of the comments were like, ew. Um,
yeah.
so
Yeah, that's interesting because you're told to follow the trends, recreate some of these things that people are doing for shock value, and that's the kind of thing to me does not feel good.
yeah. Oh yeah. I don't like feeling derivative either.
Yeah.
And I do think like when you see like the Beyonce reaction at the whatever award ceremony that was where she won, was it the Grammys?
Mm,
Where
mm,
she won like best album for Cowboy
yes.
Carter. Her
Yeah.
face was legitimately, it was really fun. She was like horrified and she was like frozen in this like horrified because she just was like not expecting it. And
Hmm.
I think like everybody saw it and was like, oh, this is a really funny reaction. You could totally make it into a meme. But then like, within 2 hours, you see every brand account makes it into a meme.
Oh,
And to me,
wow.
that's the sort of thing where it's like, this is a fun phenomenon. It was a fun reaction. It is topically relevant and culturally relevant, but it also feels kind of like if it's clearly such a forced
Yeah. Yeah.
piece of content. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee and recently
Yeah.
I'm listening to a lot of Alex Hormozy. And I think Gary Vee is like the best resource for these things. But his point is it's about that we're in an era of interest media now,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
is it's not about like curating your feed or your grid and having the precise perfectly articulated message laid out over 9 squares on Instagram. It's about like posting a piece of content that hits for whatever reason. Now it could be the
Hmm.
hook, it could be the content, it could be the fact that it's culturally tapped in, it could just be, I mean, if it's a topic like, let's just say it's like dating, where it has nothing to do with like the news, but it
Hmm.
has something very strongly to do with like human instinct and like how people feel when they're in love or rejected or whatever. Like you can completely, depart from the news. So I get
Hmm.
like, that feeling of like I don't want to just be chasing the news in order to have something to say. I agree
Yeah.
that sucks, and I also agree that's not in most cases, that's not distinctive enough for people to care.
Hmm.
That's my personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Might get people to notice once you bump up in the algorithms,
yeah,
then, but you have to
yeah,
keep doing it. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. I just try and keep focused on, okay, what will serve my people? What do
yeah.
they want to see? Who are they? What do they like? What do they need?
Yep.
And how can I fill that need?
Yes, and I am that is also my mentality. And I,
Hmm.
again, I endorse whatever works for people, but like that's
Hmm.
also my perspective. Um, And I think that there are ways to tweak that as well to your benefit, like not in a
Uh-huh.
malicious way, but just so that it works for you as well. And so that's something actually I've started dabbling with. Like maybe 3 weeks ago, I spent like 4 to 5 hours trying to translate cocktail tips that I knew were valuable
Hmm.
into pieces of short form content that actually perform. Because, like, as I mentioned, I do marketing when I have like just a bunch of extra time, and that rarely happens. So, like, we don't have like consistent social. So, what I found was really interesting, which is like, there's one example video I'll share, which is it was a 30-second video that I made on like how to cut lime wheels. And I just took that video, I changed the cover, I changed a little bit of like the copy that I put in the post itself, and I posted it to TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts.
Uh-huh.
And that one video, as a combination of all those things, the topic, the length, the hook at the beginning, the
Yeah.
copy, the cover, that one video has gotten over 150,000 views on social.
Nice.
But so my point of this whole story is that this is content that we've been posting anyway, but I didn't have the other elements of like the
Right. The
platform
hook.
algorithms. But yeah, I didn't have that stuff nailed. or dialed in. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's interesting is you can take stuff that you're like, okay, maybe I'm getting like 100 views or 50 views or 200 views. And like, why isn't it performing better? Because I know the content is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out again, there's like a few little tweaks that you can make that are hugely impactful, particularly the hook, as you've said. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, this is just my recent journey, and I thought it was relevant.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think people can use that because, yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know. I mean, you try a bunch of things and whatever hits, it's like spaghetti on the wall, you know?
totally. And I think the other thing that's interesting about this is like because of this whole interest media business,
Mhm.
this means like for example, with most of those videos that I made in that 4 to 5 hour segment that I spent, most of those videos, the majority of the viewers were not my followers, meaning that they might
Oh,
just
that's
that
fine.
it's really interesting, A, and B,
Yeah.
what that also means is that actually liberates you to say, I'm not going to be anxious about, what if they see this and then they hate the other content because they might just see that one piece of content. So I actually started testing the exact same video with different covers or different CTAs or whatever
Mm.
side by side and just to see how that one variable performed, like if the hook is different, does that bring different people in? If the covers are, because you're like, if I were so focused on all of my followers being like, why are you posting the same video
Oh,
twice?
geez.
You couldn't do the test. But knowing
Right.
most people won't see another piece of your content, I
Hmm.
think is super interesting and is super liberating.
Oh, for sure. And, people don't realize, okay, even if they saw it and you reposted it, so what? They may not
Yeah.
remember that. They may have been scrolling, scrolling, scrolling and not seen it, or they may have seen it and go, oh, it's being posted again. That people don't think like that.
And it's not like their problem. Like they're kind of like
Yeah.
they're kind of like
Keep
they're not
scrolling.
gonna yeah, they're not gonna sit there being like, what a dummy. Like
No.
why are they um yeah, so I think that to sum that up, and this is related to something you were saying earlier too, is it's I think we all get concerned like, oh, the entire world is watching. And if I make a mistake, the entire world will know that I'm bad at
Mhm.
this. And it's like, guess what? They are distracted by millions of other things.
Yeah.
They probably will not remember this happened in the first place.
Yeah.
So like just try to be as memorable as you can in that one piece of
Yeah.
content.
What's worse is my sister will see this. My cousin, my friend from high school, all those things
Yeah.
I think people worry about. And
Yeah.
you know what? What are they doing?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. 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 Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. The ones who want the best for you, your friends, your loved ones,
Yep.
they will not care. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not going to care. But the one,
Yeah.
if that's a person that's going to judge you anyway,
Yeah.
first of all, they're not because they have their own lives. Get over yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not looking at you for their own validation,
Yeah.
but unless they're a troll sitting in their mom's basement.
Yeah, totally. Well, and so it's actually funny. So we've done very little paid advertising of any kind.
Uh-huh.
But I ran a Facebook ad on our 2-to-1 honey syrup. So
Mm,
the reason you need a 2-to-1, so what this is it means it's 2 parts wildflower honey, 1 part water. There's no preservatives, nothing
mm.
artificial, etc.
Wow.
So
Huh?
this is like, yeah, so if you want to do like a gold rush or a bee's knees or like any of these cocktails that
Mm.
require honey, the reason you need a product like this is because undiluted honey freezes up on the inside of the shaker. And so, the majority of our customers, they want something that is easily mixable where they don't have to do an extra step. They don't like, of course, they can make it on their own, but most people don't want to be measuring and then cooking and then cooling and then like they just don't want to do all those steps. So
Hmm.
I, this, funny enough, was incredibly polarizing. And we received a lot of comments where people are just like, ugh, who would ever buy this thing? Like, that's so dumb. Like, just,
Oh, you're kidding.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was like, we've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of this one product. So, like, I really don't care what you have to say because you're wrong. And it's like, sure, it's not a product for you. And sure, you like just want to hate on like anyone who has,
And whatever. Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, unsolicited criticism is just part of our lives these days.
Yeah, well, and thanks for boosting my algorithm. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
with
exactly.
all the
I'm like, yeah,
comments.
any engagement is good.
Yeah, that's right. Thank y'all. And cheers.
And cheers, exactly, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what what would you love to share with my audience that I haven't asked you? I feel like um, we've talked
Well,
a lot
well,
about marketing, but
well, here's a question. So
yeah.
what what do you think your audience like comes for your show for? Because again, I think that there's many aspects of the story that I could share, but I want to make sure
Mm.
I deliver value to the people
Hmm.
listening.
Well, that's interesting. That's a great question because I feel like part of my audience are female entrepreneurs who are looking to be seen
Mhm.
and looking to try and figure out how to make their business, what they're trying to grow,
Yep.
grow.
Mhm.
And then the other part of my audience are fun loving cocktail lovers.
Okay.
I also have a sipper club that I do once a month where I create a craft cocktail and
Great.
yeah, super fun. So I'm thinking, okay, we got to use some cheeky stuff
Yes, and I would
upcoming.
love to send you some, by the way. So
Oh, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll do a cocktail for my
Yeah.
membership. Then once a month we get together and sip a new cocktail.
Love.
And it's just super fun. We get together on
Yeah.
Zoom and talk and stuff. So part
Yeah.
of my audience is like all about the cocktail.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
are perfect for this.
This is it really is an excellent intersection of the thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll say this. So the first thing before I forget it is I can get you a discount for your folks. So if you want to
Oh,
share a
wonderful.
discount for your
Yeah,
membership, I'm happy to get that. So we can just like discuss it afterward.
that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, totally my pleasure.
Thank you.
Of course. And then I would say again, because so many of the principles of entrepreneurship have parallels in with other creative endeavors, what I would say is maybe two main pieces of advice. Like thing number one is getting started. Like that first step is the hardest.
Mm,
So moving from
always.
inertia, being a complete standstill, to taking action, intellectually, that is the hardest thing for people to do, and it is the scariest. So my advice always to, aspiring entrepreneurs or creatives who are trying to take that first step is like, it will not be perfect. Take that step. Whatever it is, take a little step and take another little step and take another little step. And the interesting thing is momentum, carries in all areas of your life. So even if you're feeling totally like bound up and stuck professionally, if you take a new step and you put yourself out there where it's you're trying a new dance class or you pick up a weightlifting class or whatever, or you start like a hiking group or anything like that, those things translate to that feeling of momentum and empowerment in the rest of your life.
Mm,
So
mhm.
whatever it is, like literally, even if the action is like Google Google how to start a website, or better yet, put it into ChatGPT because it's going to give you a better answer. So take the first step. It is definitely the hardest, and you have to force yourself. It's hard for everybody. You have to force yourself. So
Yeah.
that's thing one. And then I would say thing two is you'd mentioned this earlier. Um, People are afraid to be seen, and therefore, I think one of the things that contributes to that inertia at the beginning of a process is being afraid to share your idea with other people.
Yeah.
And when you share that idea with other people, be careful about who you share it with because you know that there's the people
Mm,
who look like friends and they're actually haters. Don't share it with them. But
hmm.
the people that you either are doing the thing that you want to do, like who could be maybe it's just an entrepreneur that you see on LinkedIn or like a guest from your show, like
Hmm.
people who have been successful in the thing that you're doing are most likely, like a huge amount of them, want to pay it forward. So
Yes.
those are the people that you should tap into. And also, I'll say one other piece about that is also be careful about people who are like super invested in your well-being. Like if it's your mom
Yes.
doesn't want you to take a risk, like
They don't want you to
but
be hurt. Yeah.
yeah, if they're invested to that degree, maybe that's not the best person either. But like, no, but really, the people again, like entrepreneurs, creatives who are more farther along, those are great
Hmm.
people to just hit up cold and just say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I super admire you. I was hoping, I'd love to ask you a question or like if you'd be willing to, give me two or three resources or like, would you be willing to hop on a, 20-minute call? Like, I would super appreciate it. People like to do that. And then
Mm-hmm.
the final thing is really connected with that last statement that I made, is that asking for help is a strength. It's not a vulnerability.
Absolutely.
And particularly, I mean, men and women have a hard time asking for help, but I know for sure that there's so much weight and expectation put on women to be perfect and
Yeah.
to do everything perfectly and do the job and the
Hmm.
house and the kids and the friends and the it's you being able to approach people and say, I love you or I appreciate you. Would you be willing or able to help me with this? Or do you know anyone who could? It is super empowering. People, if people do not treat the request with respect, they are not worthy of being in your life.
Mm,
So it's also a really good like editing function of being like, that person was a jerk, or like that person did not treat this with care,
hmm.
or was actively rude or dismissive, like
Or didn't take me seriously.
file that away.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that like that's I think it's one of the hardest things, A, in life, B, like in the fundraising process as well. And this is something that
Mm,
like I've had to coach myself over this hump a billion times, but it's like, hey, you can't say no for other people. Because what is likely the truth is that there's hundreds or thousands of people who would love to help you. And if you say no for them before you actually know what they think,
yeah. You've made the
it's
decision
bad for
for
both of
them.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such great advice. All of that.
Thank you. It comes from
Yeah.
personal experience, but also like,
Oh,
being in a network of other, women entrepreneurs who are,
yeah.
going through something similar, and male
Right.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, and some of our friends not only want to keep us safe and don't want us to be hurt, but they also don't want you to grow out of them. You
Oh,
know,
that's a toughie.
yeah, that's big.
And that's something that's again, I didn't I feel like I did not have to deal with this for years, but to be frank, that's something that I'm dealing with right now is like, I've had, a bunch of friendships for 10, 20 plus years. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people don't necessarily want you to change and evolve. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, oftentimes I think when people are not cheering for your success, it's because they feel like it reflects poorly on them. If they're not
Yeah.
achieving at the same level, or if they're not ambitious at the same level, that's saying something in quotation marks, about them. And navigating those relationships and deciding like which ones am I going to continue to invest in and which ones shall I divest from, So it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you each bring something different to the table. And, if you don't want to change the way that you are, I love you anyway.
Mhm.
And that's fine. But, I need to do this for me. If they're holding you back is one thing, but
Mhm.
I think that's where it gets hard, where it's difficult if they don't want you to grow.
Yeah, and the other piece too, and this is something that I personally have been navigating recently, is my standard of how I want to be treated and what I will accept has
Mm-hmm.
really grown. And what I realized is like the me, even a few years ago, would make excuses for people and say, "Oh, they're just like a little bit quirky." Like that's it's
Right.
they don't mean anything wrong or bad from this. And so I made excuses for things where I'm like, no, 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 they're an adult. They are responsible for their actions and they're responsible for the message they deliver. And there's like been a repeated behavior that is now very clear to me. I no longer accept this. My standard is higher. And
Mm,
letting go of those people without
yeah.
without negative feelings and just being like, that was a chapter of my life. I loved that person and loved that experience, and that no longer serves me. I think that is it's again, it's definitely bittersweet and it's also really important to do.
Mm, hmm. Yeah. You can't serve your people. You can't serve you can't be what you're You can't lift others up if you're being held back or if you hold
Yeah.
yourself back.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard something recently. I think this might have been an Alex Ramosi thing, but he was saying that you cannot expect above average results and
Mm,
expect to be liked by average people. And it's not to
mm,
say it's like it's us and it's them, but it's just these two things are in incongruous. It's just
hmm.
not possible. And I think
That's
knowing that,
fantastic.
oh yeah, oh my God. I was
Yeah.
like, when I heard that, I was like, oh,
Yeah. Preach.
that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
so yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something fun.
Yeah.
Cocktails.
Yes. Yes, let's do it.
Okay,
Talk to me.
so do you have a favorite? I mean, I'm sure there are many because we're
It
alike in that way.
yes. I mean it depends. So my go-tos, like if I'm
Hmm.
in any bar anywhere in the world kind of vibe.
Hmm.
So like two things that I just know that I love. I love dirty martinis, like
Mm.
with a little bit fancier olives. I love Negronis, so I love
Oh,
like bitter
Negroni.
flavor.
Hmm.
Another classic that I have indulged in many a time, which I very much enjoy, is like a classic daiquiri, so just rum, lime, simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a million different tiny little iterations, like add a splash of fresh pineapple. It is delightful and
Mm-hmm.
like dances on your tongue. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've like there's like a million cocktails that I love. Like I love the French 75, which is
Mm.
it's a gin cocktail, lemon, simple, and then topped with sparkling wine or champagne.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, oh, I love a jungle bird too, which
Oh,
is
what's that?
it is so it's a combination of bitter and tropical. So there's a lot of different recipes for it, but typically it's like a Jamaican or like really very flavorful, funky dark rum. So some black strap in there, which is again, it tastes sort of like,
Ooh.
yeah, it's like it tastes like sort of like dark molassesy with like
Uh-huh.
almost like a burnt quality to it, which doesn't sound
Uh-huh.
fun, but it really adds nuance in the cocktail. Lime, pineapple. What else did I forget? That might have been it. But
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry, and then Campari. So
Oh,
it's bitter.
nice.
It's like a little bit.
Nice.
It's like a little bit of a burnt nuance, tropical,
Uh-huh.
citrusy. I'm really describing it very, very poorly, but it is for somebody who likes bitter, like sort of strong flavors, it is
Uh-huh.
delicious. And it's one of those flavor profiles that's like it's it's tart enough that you just like really just want to drink more. And it's
Uh-huh.
really complex and delicious. Anyway,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
complex is what came to mind when you were
Yes, yes, yes,
describing
yes.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I feel a Sipper Club recipe coming on.
Ooh. Well, again, it is polarizing.
Uh-huh.
There are people who, if you don't like bitter, you should
Uh-huh.
definitely avoid this cocktail. So there's
Okay.
bitter evolved as a like survival
Oh.
mechanism. So
Mm-hmm.
the human palate actually should really dislike bitter things, but there are some of us, a smaller subset of people who love bitter. So if you love bitter,
Mm-hmm.
you will love this cocktail. If you do not like bitter, if you don't like Campari or even Aperol, for example, avoid.
Uh-huh. Oh, those are two of my favorite things.
Okay, perfect, perfect. You will love it. You will love it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, and what I like to do too on my in my recipes that I come up with, my version and then okay, this one's a little bit more palatable, or you might like to try
Yes.
it with this instead, or
Love.
flip this in or add this.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? You know what? You said the honey drinks.
Mhm.
Have you had a bee sting?
I have, yes.
I love that because
Yeah.
it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's got a little
Yeah.
bit of a sting, a little
Yeah,
spiciness to it
yeah,
with the
yeah.
jalapeno. But yeah.
We have a hot honey also, by the way. Um,
Oh.
yeah, we do all the R&D in-house as well. And so
Uh-huh.
we tried all these different peppers.
Fun Fridays.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you though, so when we make the hot honey, because we are basically steeping habanero in like boiling honey,
Oh my God.
it's like bring your gas mask to work day. It's
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
it's a little much, but yeah, anyway, so
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, so what's a favorite memory over a cocktail, a good cocktail with some friends?
You mean a memory of me having cocktails with friends?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I mean, This is a toughie because again,
So
I've had
many.
so many. Well, I have a funny cocktail date story. If
Oh, that's fun.
you okay, so
Yes.
I'll try to keep this concise. So I went to this bar again. We were having cocktails. It was in Brooklyn, and there were board games at this place, and they really didn't have like a robust kitchen. They just had like a sandwich press. And we ordered food, and there were like little candles all around, and you know, my date and I are at the bar and we're drinking.
And
And
is this a first date
it was a first
situation?
date. It was a first date.
Okay.
Yes. And I order like a grilled cheese, and the bartender is also responsible for making it. So they go to put the grilled cheese on. And then my date's like, why don't we play this game? It was like Trivial Pursuit or something. So he like gets out the box and he, takes the box top off and we lay out the thing. And then maybe like 15, 20 seconds later, we like start sniffing. We're like, something is
Oh
burning.
no.
And so I say, like, I'm sorry, bartender, like, is that my sandwich? And their eyes pop open huge. My date's eyes pop open huge because now the smell is getting like more aggressive. The bartender like rushes over to the sandwich and is like, no, no, it's fine, and like takes it off and is like, I don't know what this is. And the smells like 2 seconds later, it smells like much worse. And we turn around and my date goes, oh my God, he had taken the top of the game box and put it directly on top of a candle. So the box is like now on fire. This
No.
woman sitting next to him goes, I got it. And she takes her like full pint of beer and she douses the top. The entire bar like erupts into like applause. And we're like, wow. So it was just a really funny, like
Oh my
like
God.
there were like 15 people being like, you're a hero. It was very funny. Yeah, that was,
Oh,
and then
save the
actually,
alcohol.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know. I'm sure the bartender hooked her up
Oh
again.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
but we were like, what? Like, there's a mystery. What's happening? So, yeah.
Whoopsies.
Yeah.
I love that story. It was a community at that point.
Oh, totally. And like that's kind of my favorite thing is I love those moments where it's like strangers come together.
Yes.
Which this is like New York is such a good city for this, where it's like flash mobs and like just random acts of kindness or like
Oh,
I love that stuff. So
yeah, I do too.
special.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, and alcohol brings people together.
Yeah, yeah. Or the again, well, some people are like sober curious, like, but the
Yeah,
communing over food and beverage is like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
a
everything.
thing.
That's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for some of us, it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Are you like a bar drinker, a home drinker? What's your
Mostly home because I don't want to drive and we're in a very rural area. So,
Oh,
you know,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah. And my husband too. I mean, we both love to cook and we both love to have a good cocktail,
Yeah.
great glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My
so for
okay,
this,
my previous job
oh,
was as a um where do I start? I did in-home wine tastings and educated people on how to pair it with foods and that sort of thing. So yeah, I was
fantastic.
in wine on the wine side. So yeah,
Yeah,
we love a good glass of wine.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the Sipper Club, so is everybody
Mm-hmm.
virtual or do you meet or do you okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
if there
it's all
was like
virtual.
any okay, gotcha. Very
Yeah,
cool.
but a lot of my friends that are part of it were, they're friends as well. So we're like, well, we're all friends now because we
Yeah, yeah,
come
yeah.
together once a month.
Sure.
Those that are close enough, I do get together with when we
Yeah,
can.
very
Yeah,
cool. Amazing.
yeah, fantastic. April, this has been so fun.
This has totally been fun. I have loved this conversation.
Me too. Me too. It's great to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. So yeah, so I
Cool.
would love to send you samples, and then again, let's figure out the discount code for your
Oh,
people
I'd
because
love that.
I'd love people to try it if they're interested.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll put all that information and how to find you, how to find your cheeky cocktails in the show notes for sure. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
That's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind the scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyforyourshots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thirsty Thursday. Cheers!